Hello, welcome to episode 2 of the Flores Podcast, and today we have two lovely ladies in the adult industry. Ladies, introduce yourselves.
I'm Isabella Knights.
And I'm Aria, Khaide.
Now, men and other ladies as well, take a look at them. They're absolutely stunning. So, one of the things with the podcast is adult entertainment, sports, relationships, and shenanigans. We're going to get all into it. Girls, do you even watch your own porn?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'd say occasionally, just to critique myself.
Exactly. You need to know where you've started, where you've gone, angles that have worked, whatever it may be. And I mean, some scenes are just super hot and you can't help but...
And then there's those scenes that you're like, maybe I'll watch it a little bit just to be naughty.
Okay. Do you ever watch scenes with your friends? Or is that off limits?
Well, my friends have watched my scenes and then told me. So
yeah,
it's been that way.
Yeah. A lot of my girlfriends have watched my scenes, and I have a lot of mom friends. And the best story I heard from one of my mom friends is when she synced her phone to her car, it popped up as Aria Khaide blowbang on her dashboard of her car as she's taking her kids to school. So I'm like, well, at least they can't read yet.
My friend just says, oh, you're keep getting better at acting. I'm like, thank you for being my big supporter. I appreciate it.
Yes, that's always the best. I mean, I watch it with my husband too, to egg him on and be like, I'm sucking this guy's dick, or I'm with a really hot girl. I want you to watch it. I'll tell him from what time to watch, and then I'll come up and I'll finish the job too. So it makes a little fun foreplay.
That's interesting. So what advice would you have for anyone that's looking to even get started in the industry?
You want to go first on this one?
Sure. I think investing in your brand is number one. Obviously, you have to have standards. You have to know what your brand is going to be and stick with it. And don't be afraid to say no to things. We're tested, that's an expense. You're buying equipment, you're buying clothes, and there's going to be that period where you're shelling out money to invest in your brand. And if I'm, a MILF, I love XYZ, and someone wants to do something that I'm not comfortable with, I'm going to say no. And if there's a beautiful lady like Isabella over here, I'm going to dive right in.
What was the question again? Remind me. Word it again.
What advice would you give?
Oh, advice. First of all, I do your research before you get in the industry. I know people just jump into it, but definitely do your research. See if it's something that is for you. And then kind of just be on your own terms. So do whatever you feel comfortable with and what you're excited about.
You use the word MILFs. It's been used in society.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you describe it? How would you describe it? If someone calls you, oh, she's a MILF, is it a difference between being a MILF versus being an adult star MILF?
So I feel like a lot of people use MILF very differently in the industry than in real life. A lot of people yell at me and say I look too young, or I have, a natural chest, so I can't be a MILF, so I kind of do the horny housewife. But I do have 2 kids, so I am a real MILF. So I love being called a MILF. My favorite term, I think, is slut, though. That's definitely one. But MILF, I think, is all over the place in the industry. I think it's normally when you see someone that looks mature versus being actual real life MILF. But I'll take MILF, I'll take horny housewife, whatever you want to call me.
Where you got that milk?
Yeah.
MILF money. Yeah.
Now you are, how old are you?
Well, you think I'm 4'11", but I'm 5 foot, so I just beat it.
All right. So you consider petite.
I am.
Okay. Is that one of the things that you find that you sense appealing to the people that's looking for that petite bombshell?
Yeah, I would say so. A lot of people comment, just like, oh, I love how petite and tiny you are, and people just randomly pick me up, and I'm like, put me down. And so that happens.
That's interesting. So, one of the things that, you both have come to us as top performers in the different kinds of genres, and shout out to your agency, East Coast Talent. But if you weren't a top performer, what would you be doing? Have you ever thought about that? If you weren't a top performer in this industry, what could you see yourself doing?
I definitely can see myself doing a lot of other things, and also alongside this job as well. I don't think you have to, if you're a top performer, you have to do just that as well. Definitely go back to school, and I'm interested in psychology, so I'm getting my degree in that right now.
Very cool. I think I'd still be sucking dick and licking pussy no matter what I was doing.
I'd be doing that no matter what.
Exactly. So it doesn't. I don't think it would really matter. Before I got into the industry, I was a phys ed teacher. I have a kinesiology degree too. So so I do. Sometimes I help training. A lot of times now with the virtual era, and I help a lot of my girlfriends like training and nutrition and everything. So that's a passion of mine too.
That's awesome.
You mentioned the psychology. Do you think where right now, with everything going on, I think this is a good branch off question, with everything that's been going on with COVID, with everything that's been going on in the environment and everything else, is there a type of psychology that you feel that the industry helps people cope with?
I think there needs to be more of that. I don't think we have enough outreach programs, and you don't really know about mental health until you get to rock bottom sometimes, especially if you're moving to a brand new place, starting off your new career. And I think a lot of girls could benefit from that if we did start something like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And I think women, should I say.
Yeah. And I agree. Even as a performer too, I think when you see a fellow performer post something really positive, maybe you're having an off day, or, being able to raise each other up versus, oh, well, that girl's really hot, so, well,
it just makes, I think, the industry, just more better and genuine. Mm-hmm. So if we're all just nice to each other, and we actually, especially during this time, just looking out for each other.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
We're people, too.
Since you're people, that means you have guilty pleasures.
Oh, no.
Let's come out with them. What are some of you all's guilty pleasures?
I don't know what's considered guilty. I don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah. I always joke that my guilty pleasure is watching housewife TV shows and when I unwind at the end of the day.
Oh, okay.
Because that's, it's such mindless TV, but I feel like after a long day, you kind of just want to chill and not have to use your brain or whatever. I think that's the guilty, not really guilty, but one of those haha moments.
Yeah. I've always had a hot for authority figures, and that gets me in trouble.
Ooh.
So, that tends to happen. I guess that's kind of guilty, but
I didn't bring my whistle. I would have bought it if I had known.
So one of the questions that tends to come out, I want to ask both of you this, is actually we're going to come back to a relationship. We're going to come back to it.
Okay.
I want to stay with porn as an industry. Given that the apps and the internet right now, where do you see it in the next 3 to 4 years? Because everyone says, COVID fast forwarded some things. People had that jest. So where do you see it going?
I think it's going to be really interesting because there are a lot of platforms that are trying to weed the adult industry out. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be an awakening, maybe a renaissance, if you will, with us going out there and laying out a better platform for our things and maybe having a little more security and more options. And I think a lot more people are understanding that they need their own website or need something more secure than going off of another platform that we thought was the most secure thing in the world. And all of a sudden, we've lost that.
You're referencing the whole thing that happened with Pornhub.
Yeah, Pornhub. There's lots of things. You hear horror stories about OnlyFans shutting down accounts all the time and girls losing all of that money that they had acquired. So, with their payout, girls were doing the monthly payouts, and all of a sudden there's a full month of hard work that just disappeared because they shut down your account. So, it's really important to have different revenue streams, but also to look for not someone being your only payment processor and relying on other, being self-sufficient too, and kind of having those security nets.
I kind of see, this is a different perspective on that, but a different, area within that about the porn industry, kind of switching ways. I kind of see it more now. It's going back kind of the old days where you have your top performers and shooting, and then because I kind of think that's the way to go in my opinion, is to just have people who really enjoy sex show that on film versus have people there that don't know what they're doing, getting in, like, this is amateur, but, like, real type, if you know what I mean. Like, what you see on the documentaries that showcase, like, the horrible stuff. Like, we're getting away from that, I think, and we're able to be more in charge, but also enjoy performing more.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So, if that makes any sense. That was a bunch of rambling, but...
No, I definitely agree with that.
All right. So, relationships.
Relationships.
Yeah, we can
Dirty
take our time
word.
with this one. Take our time with this one. How do you...
Also, like Pony from Genuine just like came into my head. Take your time with it. You know?
How do you navigate the relationships, and in Izzy's case, relationships, in your case, marriage, now versus then before you even got into the industry?
That's a good question. Do you want me to start, or do you want to?
You can go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, my husband was the one that told me to get into porn. The joke was I call myself the greediest slut, and he's the one that started that. He's like, you're a greedy slut. You might as well do what you love and love what you do. You know, get into porn, which was really cool. He and I were posting stuff, you know, on Pornhub or Clips for Sale, whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden we got a following. And people were like, oh, well, who are you shooting for? What are you doing? I'm like, well, this is us being real. So it was nice. So I'm lucky that I have a great support system. And I was a little bit self-conscious about my body, myself, and before I met him. And he just kind of, you know, helped me get into it. Obviously, there are times where we have to have more open communication, and when I go into a shoot, letting him know everything that's going to happen. We have boundaries within our relationship of things that I will do, you know, for production and then just for us. So it's really important, I think, in any relationship, and then especially when you're in the industry, to have that open line of communication. And everyone kind of laughs when I'm like, oh yeah, you know, we're monogamous, really, besides porn. And a lot of people are like, oh, you don't have full open, you're not doing all this. Like, no, because if we do anything with other people, we like them to be with us, and because we're happy.
Are you swingers?
No, so we.
See, you said so we 2 or 3 times.
So it's hard to explain. So we will not do things one-on-one without other people,
You
but
will
we will
couple
bring.
swap if agreed.
We do everything together. So we don't do one-on-one. We don't go off with anyone. We are together because, like I said, our relationship is strong enough that we're happy and we're content with, more than content where we are. But if we bring other people in, it's to add to us, not to be something that we're lacking between the two of us.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know. But we'll do parties and stuff, but we're always together. And there's lots of times he'll still be in the room, he'll be watching, he'll be, oh no, go be a slut. Like, take that one, take that one, take that one, take that one, and he'll just sit back and love it. But either way, it's still a joint, you know, thing, so.
That's cool.
So, Izzy, relationships with you.
Relationships.
Before and now. Lay into it.
Let's do this. I don't know. I had like one relationship, actually 2 relationships before I started porn. So I wasn't really into dating much, I guess. I met my first boyfriend in a mental hospital. So it's not the first place you want your first relationship. And lost my V card to him. And then met another guy, didn't want me stripping. I ended up dumping him, stripped. But as far as relationships go, I'm like, I don't know. I think I just like people in general, and it's like I like having relationships with multiple people, if that makes sense. Just like nothing too serious, just because I'm like still young and I have a lot of time, and I do have like people I appreciate in my life and they mean the world to me, but I also I kind of look at sex differently. I have it completely separate from like what love is. So, but before that, I used to go on Tinder nonstop, and so porn was like a safer way for me to, have sex versus just going on Tinder every day.
That's right. I met my husband on Tinder, so it's
yeah.
At Tinder, if this blows up, you owe us some money.
Yeah.
And I say that because you never know what can be viral. There was a video on the floor. So we had a Pornhub account before the whole porn thing, and now, knock on wood, we have been granted a premier partner, and so that's going to be up in the next couple of weeks with clips of all the scenes and everything like that. So shout out to you porn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. RedTube, Pornhub, and another one out, and also X Hamster as well has approved us as well. And so that's shout out to that's a win for the little guys. But it was interesting though, and I almost forgot what I was going to say. But I want to come back to you for a second. Aria, I don't want to lose sight of this. You met your husband on Tinder. Izzy, you were a Tinder fanatic, according to what you said. You were on Tinder all the time. And then you said porn was a way for you to exercise your desires.
Sex addiction?
Yeah.
I walked her into this one. Sex addiction.
Right. So,
and I sort of I was waiting for one of you to pick up on it. Do you feel that
it actually has helped with that?
Explain.
I know it sounds weird. So
you answered the question before I asked you. So that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. Wait. What were you saying?
With sex addiction and porn and how it's helped.
Just kind of how it's helped. So how it's helped, I guess, is just like I'm not constantly like going out for dick, I guess. But it's like there. I know the guy. I feel safe. There's people around. And it's like fun because I know the people, and so it's like I feel safe versus I would just kind of go on Tinder and just hook up with whoever, just kind of because I liked sex, but it was more of a obviously addiction type of thing. I was not really confident in myself and stuff. Did porn, and that actually helped me gain confidence and like embrace my sexuality. I was very ashamed of it before, and I think it's helped open me up to that, so I'm not so ashamed.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, my numbers were definitely high, regardless of porn. And I was doing going out to the bars with my girlfriends, and all of a sudden, halfway through the night, where's Aria? I'd be like, oh, give her 30 minutes, she'll be back. I'll come. All right, we're good, guys. Like, okay.
You got your fix.
Yeah, got my fix. Came back, popped back in.
And I worked in a brothel before porn, so I did that as well. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, okay. what was your? This is a new grounds to tread on. When you were in a brothel, you were doing it for the money and the notoriety, as well as sex with random men.
I was more curious.
And
wanted sex.
All right. So, at some point, you said, "I want to try porn."
Yes.
All right. What was that? This is a great for anyone that is in the situation of whether they are, there's certain aspects of sex workers that are in bad situations. There's some they're in curious situations. But in a sense, whoever hears this right now, what was your transition? What was your why did you want to? You did the brothel. Why did you want to go from there to porn? And when you went to porn, was it like did you step one foot in, like sort of dipping the toe, or did you say fuck it, I'm just going all in?
So I actually am gonna say stuff on here that I haven't said anywhere else. So my birth mom was actually a prostitute, so I was born addicted to drugs, and so my whole outlook, my whole life was bad. She got pimped out. She's handicapped now. A lot of stuff went wrong, and so I saw that, and I'm so grateful. My parents adopted me today. Just were always so against all of that. So, but my mind was always curious, and I knew I wanted to dance at some thing. So I danced, and before that I wrote a paper in college on stripping. So that's what kind of got me into it. And I was curious, wanted to do that, did a political science paper on the brothels. From there on, went to the brothel, and
political science paper on it.
Yes.
That is an interesting journey.
And then I worked at the brothel, and it was quite an experience. And then from there, I realized I was like, hey, I can kind of make this like a business opportunity because I saw another adult performer there. And I was like, I can use my name to bring in customers and clientele. And then, and then also, again, just curious about the whole thing. So because of just seeing what my birth mom went through and stuff and seeing it in a different light. I didn't want to always look at sex in such a bad light. So I think that's where this all came from with that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Deep shit.
Yeah.
All right.
That's great coming out like that, girl. That's yeah. That's amazing.
So you're the first to hear it, Florence.
All right. So 4'9" or 4'10", 5 foot.
5 foot.
5 foot. All right, do you feel it's an advantage in certain roles? What can you do that others can't do? Hello.
Yeah. Sorry.
for the podcast listeners, you can't see what she just did. You can go to the YouTube, which is the Saltcast.
Exercise. Look at this.
You know what? It's interesting because I just dropped a few names: podcast, softcore, hardcore. How do you find, to each of you, how do you find yourself marketing differently nowadays versus versus years ago?
Oh.
What works, what doesn't work. And here's important: how much time do you give something to say like, okay, I'll stick with it versus all right, this is just not it. What marketing wise or whatever kind of push, whatever.
I think something's going to take 3 to 6 months to see a real. If you're going to invest in something, invest in it, give it time, and especially if you're passionate with it. Obviously, people don't realize that porn in general and promoting things, it's tedious. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it's not a quick overnight.
Yeah,
I mean, for some girls, but majority, it's a lot of work, a lot of time. You can't give up. You just got to keep going if it's something you're passionate about.
And a lot of people don't realize you have international fans too. So now you're posting and catering to different time zones. You're catering to sites that don't allow nudity or, when you're promoting like an Instagram or you have to have Twitter, you have to have your promo video this much because you don't want to get shadow banned. Mm-hmm. So now you think in your head, okay, I'm doing a scene, but now I have to promote for 5 different platforms, or whatever it may be, 5 different styles. Then you have your teasers, you have your little clips and everything. So it becomes a very tedious, even for your own content, doing a solo, it can still be a 3-hour, production when you have pictures. You're doing your little clips and doing your main scene for, even if it's a 10-minute clip, you're still doing everything else. And
I think I started out in the industry. It wasn't really big with OnlyFans yet and just kind of the influencer type stuff. So I'm still getting used to that. And I think with that, though, it does offer, obviously, cool stuff because it allows your fans to connect with you more. And so there's like Cameo and OnlyFans and all of that type of stuff that you can promote on. But I think the biggest thing that has helped me from when I started with marketing is just being genuine. And I learned that that's the fan base I get back. So if I'm authentic with myself, and especially during scenes, and I give it my all, then I think the fans see that, and that's the biggest thing. If you don't feel comfortable posting something, if you don't feel like it's you, then don't do it. Yeah. That's just my opinion, but for me, that's what works for me. I like to be myself, and if people don't like it, then they don't need to watch my stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an East Coast girl, so it's all about what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree
so
with that.
I always love East Coast people.
Yeah.
West Coast people, you don't know about.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's East Coast. It's okay. But.
All right. So there's a phrase that has been, we're in conversations actually the other night about BBC.
BBC.
How would you define, what is a BBC to you, Izzy?
BBC. A BBC to me is a big, brownie cookie. And they're down at the pastry shop.
I was going to say a big, beautiful cock. But
yeah, no, that's what I was trying to think of something. I was like, there's something witty there that I know BBC has come up before. Yeah, a big, beautiful cock. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
It's over the minis.
Yeah. One of the questions that came back from the first podcast, and it's actually 3 or 4 questions, and the way to ask it is this: what do you think of this clip-based economy? versus the big bang producers? Can both coexist going forward?
I think definitely both can coexist. I think we together can make more stuff happen, but I think a lot of people are just right now it's hard to collaborate and stuff with this whole pandemic going on. So
it's a little bit hard. And I think it's opened the eyes for a lot of content creators as well as big companies to see that people can be their own content creator. So I
think it's actually helping the industry a bit too, even though some people don't see it that way, just because like it does get it more out there. Like it was kind of dying a bit, and it's like, oh, okay, we bring in social media and all of this stuff, and makes it more relevant today.
Yeah, very much so. So hopefully we can all be friends.
No,
the big guy.
Does music make sex better?
Yes.
All right then, speak on it, girl. Speak on it.
Oh, I mean, I dance first, so like I love dancing, and yeah, I mean, turn it up. Let's get to it.
Yeah. I think it depends on the situation too. If you're getting in the mood, you need a little, you want that extra, like, oh, this is my sexy music, right? A lot of times even getting ready, when I'm doing my makeup, I have my sexy music on or whatever it may be. And then there are times when I just want that animal sex where I'm like, I just want the music to be like
no foreplay.
Our noises, just like getting like that's the music of,
Just hear the closet hangers going.
Overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Okay, I don't know. I see different looks here.
My husband yells at me because even in my scenes, I'm just so eager and greedy because when I see a beautiful woman, I'm just like, oh, just give it to me. Just let me lick your pussy. Just let me lick
with girls?
It's like
terrible.
So you're like trying to pull back. You're like, okay. Like, usually girls are the ones that need to be warmed up a little bit more sometimes too, but you just can't help yourself. So I feel like, yes, foreplay is important, but sometimes I'm just so insatiable or there's just so much chemistry there and you're just like, just give it to me.
I love like teasing guys. Like I get off by teasing guys.
Oh, yeah.
But with girls, I understand what you're saying because like I just want to get down there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, speaking of just getting down there, you two have a scene that you all are going to do. Why don't you shout out who you're doing it for and everything?
Sure. So we're doing it for the Flourish.
Yes, we are, and we're going to have so much fun. You want to check it out. I mean,
you better check it out.
I'm about to dive in right now. I'm about to dive in right now.
All right. I don't think I can top that with any questions. Thank you both for coming on to Adult
Thanks for having us.
And sport. And there's some sports figures that are actually going to come on as well.
Oh, nice.
Relationships and shenanigans, whatnot. Awesome episode 2.
Bye, guys.